Привет Stalkers, my name is S.T.A.L.K.E.R Costumes and welcome to my YouTube channel. Mutant hunting season has finally begun. Yes, you're right, mutants are back on the menu, boys. GSC just released the new update 1.5 and we finally have mutant loot. And even better, we also have different car models in the game, we have two pretty nice weapons, and also the first step of mod support is coming. So now we're moving towards the Stalker renaissance that we all have been waiting for. And sometimes you don't have to wait for certain things, for example mutants, because they like to come to you. And to kinda give them a nice welcome when they show up, I have made this bad boy here. As you see guys, this is a double barrel shotgun, Nerf dart blaster. It's not even a Nerf gun, it's some cheapo China knockoff from the trader with the name Ali who sends stuff by express. And it really is a pretty nice toy. As you may expect guys, this thing does not look like this when you buy it. Of course not. But I give it a paint job, I give it a decent revering, and now it's quite a decent stalker prop that I have been using on Rust Haven as well. So if you want to see how I turn this piece of plastic into this beautiful gun prop, check out this video. And also, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and especially a subscribe if you want to see more stuff, because I'll be releasing a video soon in which I'll explain how you can make your own sunrise suit without any top-notch crafting skills. So stay tuned, more stuff coming soon. This here is a double barrel shotgun. It is a little bit smaller because it's of course made for foam darts. Good thing is, this thing is LARP safe and con safe, so usually you'll be able to take this on a lot of occasions with you without getting too much into trouble. This thing has a few nice features. For example, you can actually open it and load it like a double barrel shotgun. To do this, you simply pull it down, and by pulling it down, just kinda pull the spring that's inside it, thus you kinda cock it. Then you get your darts. I've already two inserted here just in case, you know, always good to be ready. And then comes the cool part. You can actually close it like that. Kinda has the Mad Max vibe. Even better, this thing actually has a double trigger, meaning you shoot once. And now you can keep pulling the trigger for the second shot. And this is pretty darn cool. It's especially cool because you can just, you know, go with this. Load this bad boy up. And you're ready to go. You know, maybe we men always say children will never grow up. I love this thing. My girlfriend hates it for obvious reasons. But damn, this thing is fun. And to get this thing fun, of course, you have to invest some work. Don't worry, it will not be as rough as sandpaper, because this is what we will start with sandpaper. You need sandpaper for this bad boy, because we will take off the original paint that has been on it, and we will need to use several grids for it. At first, start with a rough grid sandpaper and take off the excess material that you don't need. Good thing about this is you can pull off the handle of the gun, the grip, and by that it's much easier to kinda sand this thing. You can always use a sanding sponge. Sanding sponges make things easier, and this will be the first steps that you need to do when you want to get this thing done. Don't forget to also make sure to sand off all the weird kind of insignia on this. You can do that simply by sanding stuff off and then later completely throwing some nice filler on that. Don't use spray filler, just use this regular model filler or repair filler. Sometimes it's called wood filler. Cover it with that thing, let it dry, sand it off, and you will be able to cover most of the like modernish fancy looking details on the gun. Because remember guys, this is gun from Soviet Union, fanciness not included. Gels are also not included. Before I actually start painting, I'll take a sandpaper with a rather rough grid and then simply go along the imaginary texture of the wood, because of course wood has texture, it usually is not in one color, so we'll get a few scratches into this. Don't go too mad on it. If you go too mad on it, just a fine grit sandpaper and remove your damages a little bit, add a layer of a clear coat, not too much, and then simply start by taking the base brown color with a sponge and spreading it onto the gun. This will make a nice base coat, and after that you will add different other coats. You can use a sponge for this, or you can use a brush for this. Find out what suits you best and try to get like a nice diluted effect. You don't want too heavy contrast, but you also don't want a complete fade out. So try to find the right middle. And the good thing is, since you're imitating wood, you can repeat this process several times until you're happy with your result. I'm starting with the brown one, then I'll go a little bit to the black, I'll mix some colors, I'll add a brighter one, and I'll add layer by layer until I'm satisfied with the entire color scheme of this wood part. And don't worry, the paint will not come off over time, because I have a very amazing product that truly does protect my 3D printed guns. And nope, this is not sponsored content. I wish it was, because I love this product. It's actually AK Interactive's Protective Vanish. This thing is pretty nasty, so use a respirator when you're actually working with this, but it's also the best, for me, the best protective vanish that I've ever seen. Usually it's used in wargaming stuff for protecting your figures, but if you add this onto your gun, you will get a nice kind of glossy clear coat over your props that will also be somewhat resilient towards normal use damages. Of course, if you drop that thing on the floor, you might see a scratch or two, but it will be much better than usual, and also the paint will not come off as you hold the weapon and use it. I use this bad boy here in Rusthaven, an amazing post-apocalyptic festival in Czech Republic, and this one bad boy really did a good job until here. Okay, now it is important, let that thing dry. Really, let it dry for a few hours at best to be super sure, because if you put masking tape on it and the tape takes off the paint, you'll be mad. And I don't want you to be mad, I want you to be happy. So cover it with masking tape, because now the next part is done. And the next part is actually painting the barrels. To get this metallic looking effect on this prop, it's important to use a decent paint. It's good to invest in a somewhat high quality paint. I'm using for gunmetal props quite a lot the Army Paint primer in gunmetal. I really like this product so far, and it gives me a nice base coat of gunmetal color. But gunmetal itself looks like plastic. You know, gunmetal itself, it just doesn't look good, because what metal has over time is some wear and tear, and most importantly, it has this like somewhat blackish stuff on it, which I call blackwash. And the blackwash is quite easily applied. After you have spray painted your prop and let it dry properly, very important, you will use the black paint to get this like dirty, oily effect. And for that, just take some water, dilute it, and you will find the right spot. Just experiment a little bit and spread it on the barrels. And after you have done that, let it dry a little bit, not completely, just a little bit, and then take a paper towel or a cloth towel and wipe stuff off. If it's too much, reapply. If it's not enough, you can always get a little bit more moisture on the weapon or on the towel and take more of the black paint off, or simply use the moisture in your breath. Yeah, sometimes when it comes to detail, just use the moisture in your breath, breathe onto your prop, and then rub it off. It works perfectly fine as long as the paint is not completely dried, and you'll be able to take off more and more paint until you're happy with the dirt effect. When you have done this, you have the nice dirt effect on it. It looks kind of smeary and grimy like an old gun. But what does every trashy old gun that you probably, had pulled out of the bog last week ago have? Of course, rust. And rust is fairly important for a somewhat used, dirty, banded shotgun. So we will use some rust for this. And we will not fake this rust, but we'll actually use real rust. So I'm using glue. Not only just any glue, but I'm using cyan acrylate. That's like power glue. Or just use contact glue, but the clear one. Spread a thin layer on the prop, and then take a brush and some metal pigment or metal dust, and then just apply it slowly onto your prop. It will of course stay where the glue is, and the area afterwards, you will simply just clean up after it dried. So apply several coats of that, just as you feel is right. You know, usually rust stays in the grooves. Here on the corners you won't see any rust because that's the areas that you just would wear it off over time. So all the grooves in the gun, like here, can actually have some rust. That makes quite a lot of sense. So we'll include the rust here. After you've included the rust, you can use either salt and vinegar and like citric acid or any chemical that will make the rusting process faster, but we are actually going for real rust. And as soon as this entire thing is dried, you will have like a nice rust effect on your gun. Looks dirty, looks nasty, because it is. Only thing we can't change on this gun is actually this little annoying rail here, because this rail holds this lure that opens and closes this bad boy. So only downside on this, you can't take this off. Upside on this, it's a dart blaster for 10 bucks. And with all the stuff that you invested, if you like don't count the money that you invested for getting all those very good tools and supplies that you will need for your future projects, think about that. It's not a one-time use investment. You probably, what did you pay for this? Like all of this entire thing. 15 bucks in material cost, 20 bucks in material cost, and you have a double barrel shotgun with a double trigger that you can use for nerf battles, LARP, or just take to any con with you, because usually nerf blasters are approved to most of conventions. Sometimes you will find cons that are, you know, no fun allowed. Duty cons, I would like to call them. You got a decent shotgun. Congratulations. And you can apply these paint job techniques that I showed you in this video on all kinds of props. For example, a few years ago when I started doing Stalker cosplay, I'm doing this like for quite a few years now, I actually made this here. This was my very first plastic gun prop paint job. This thing is probably the cheapest China-made AK prop that you can find. And mostly does not even have like those techniques that I showed you, but it's just simply a mixture of the wood techniques that I showed you and dry brushing. And with dry brushing I got this, you know, used metal look on this. Trust me, there's nothing metal about this. This is all plastic. So yeah, that was my first gun prop, and could have never thought that my entire Stalker journey would take me so far, that I would be sitting here and having a YouTube channel and talking about my favorite video game with you. So yeah, thanks for the support, guys. If you want to see more of my stuff, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a like and a comment, and also check out my other socials, because all my cosplay pictures and stuff are going on my Instagram and Facebook, and my funny little memes that I make from time to time, the edgy maymays, they go to TikTok. Which prop does Stalker actually need, guys? Like, you know, gun-wise. Which gun is still missing? We have the Moist Nugget now, we have this bad boy now, but are there still guns that you want to see in the next Stalker updates or maybe mods? Let me know in the comments below. For me, I would love to see the beautiful Czech Scorpion, one of my favorite guns so far. I'm very glad that it's in DayZ, and I would be even more happy to have it as a sidearm in Stalker 2. Of course, we have another section of good sidearms in the game so far, but having a Scorpion for the pistol slot would be, for me, quite an amazing thing. So I hope that at some point even more all developers will consider to add the Scorpion into Stalker. And which weapon would you guys want to see in the Stalker franchise? And don't come up with Molotov cocktail or flamethrowers and something. That's the easy way to hunt bloodsuckers, I know that. And we don't go the easy way here. Since we're doing Stalker, and Stalker is all about pain and suffering and the beautiful atmosphere of the dangerous zone. And if you want to see me on my next journey through it, make sure to subscribe. We'll see each other in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stalker Costumes. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and I hope we see each other in the next video. Until then, good hunting, Stalkers.